Well, I have a lot of complaints about the Seattle Seahawks loss. Now, they should have been better in all facets of the game. You can't be having Geno Smith be throwing insane interceptions straight to the defense in big moments. But you also can't have the defense giving up 70-yard touchdown runs. It wasn't a touchdown, but you know what I mean. To the backup, to the backup. It wasn't just Christian McCaffrey's backup. It was Jordan Mason's backup. In a moment where one stop can win you the game. There was so much about this loss that's just frustrating, and it's hard to put into words. The Seahawks were just not good enough. We had a chance to win the game, be a team that's 2 games up on the 49ers, a game and a half up on the Cardinals in the division. Instead, we're talking about a situation where the Seahawks are now 1 Cardinals win away from being 3rd place in the division. 1 Cardinals win away from being 3rd place. Cardinals have the tiebreaker over the 49ers. 49ers have the tiebreaker over the Seahawks. That's how close we are to 1 win from the Cardinals to be in 3rd place. 3-0 is how this year started. The Detroit loss was understandable. I mean, at the end of the day, we can't complain about it too much. We had like 6 or 7 out of the 11 defensive starters out. But then you go lose to the Giants. Inexcusable. There's no excuse for that one. And you lose to the 49ers today. No excuse. It's so frustrating to be a Seahawks fan in these type of situations because at the end of the day, I want to be positive. I want to come here and talk about why this was an okay situation. Instead, we were down 16-3 at halftime. And it could have been 30, 28, 35. I don't know what it could have been. So many different variations to nothing at halftime. We got lucky. 49ers had to settle for some field goals, but we caught some breaks. Let's not kid ourselves. It was a lucky situation. But we didn't score. We ran 3 straight fades. 3 straight fades to end the half and end up with a field goal. We weren't good enough. Geno Smith was not good enough. I might not be as much of a Geno hater as some people are, but today I am. It was not good enough. Throwing the ball straight to 49er defenders. Having more interceptions on the year than touchdowns. That's not going to cut it. If we're trying to be a playoff team, if we're trying to be a contender, you can't have a quarterback that's throwing more picks than touchdowns and throwing it straight to defenders. This is 6 straight losses to the 49ers. 6 straight losses. 6 straight losses can't happen. And it did. The Seahawks were not as good as I expected. I thought everyone was overreacting to the schedule. You know, like, oh, it was the Patriots and Dolphins and Broncos. But it might have been a realistic reaction. So, at the end of the day, what do I take out of this? For example, the Detroit Lions game, I took out of it that we outgained them, we outpossessioned them, we outran them. We just happened to have a lot of injuries on defense and it didn't work out, and Jared Goff tore us up. Today, I don't know what to say. The first half was disgusting, and then we showed how, like, what we could be if things are going well, and it was good. It was good for a little bit of time. Like, yeah, it was a cool situation for a second. It looked like we were a legit offense, a legit defense, making stops, scoring touchdowns, doing whatever we do. But then, of course, bang, just like that, an interception, a 70-yard run, allowing them to go downfield. They couldn't stop a soul. They couldn't stop nothing. When it came to big moments for the offense, they couldn't move the ball. So, yes, is this all complaints? Most likely. I don't know what to say. I don't know how else to put it, but the offense was not good enough. The defense was not good enough. The special teams, despite the kick return for a touchdown, we still fumbled again. It touched him. It touched him. Let's be realistic for a second. It touched the Seahawks player, and it could have been the 49ers ball. They just felt bad that they didn't call the personal foul for hitting the guy on the receiving team, so they decided to not call it when it hit his finger, and they said it wasn't conclusive. All of it was bad. Now, once again, I've talked about this multiple times. There are some positives, right? Like, just like the Detroit game. You see what our offense and defense can be when things are going well. Problem is, to be a really good football team, you don't just look at things when it's going well. You have to consider when it's going bad, when it's not going well, when it's going average. And a lot of the times it's going average for the Seahawks. It's not going well 90% of the time. It's going well 50% of the time. Against the Giants, against the Lions, against the 49ers. It's gone well about 50% of the time. So I think that adds to my frustration. If we were the New England Patriots and we're just bad, I would sit here and say, hey, we're building for the future. We'll figure it out. We got a rookie quarterback coming in, like whatever. But that's not our situation. Our situation is a team that has Geno Smith, who, let's not overreact. He's a good quarterback in this league. He's just not great. That's the reality. We have a great running back. We have great receiving core. DK makes mistakes. He fumbles. He drops some balls. But it's a good receiving core. We have good tight ends. Offensive line's trying their best. Stone Forsythe was getting demolished by Joey Bosa today. Not Joey. Nick Bosa today. Overall, it was just the fact that there's injuries on the offensive line. It doesn't give Geno Smith time. But at the end of the day, it's not good enough. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Josh Allen. He's not, I don't know, whoever else you want to mention. He's not Justin Herbert. It's Geno Smith. If he's not going to get time, he's not going to be that good. So my blame doesn't really fall on Geno as much as it might to some people should be. It's a blame on so many facets of the game just not being good enough. The offensive line not good enough. The defense is not good enough. The coaching, they might be getting out-coached. The time management, timeout management, clock management, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the half was so bad. So, am I just going to be negative? Right now, yes. But at the end of the day, there still are some positives to take out. And the only positive I can take out is what I said after the Lions game. And I said it recently. There are some signs of this team being really good. The defense being good and the offense being good. But it's just not showing up every possession. It's showing up every few possessions. Like, oh, we're bad for a half. We're good for a half. We're good for a quarter. We're bad for a quarter. Offense and defense. Like, I can point to so many parts of the offense being good this weekend. Or this Thursday. Sorry, it's not the weekend. Like, they did this well. They did this well. They did this well. I can point to the defense. They made this stop. They did this well. They did that well. But then I can also turn around and say they did this so bad. The clock management, the play calling, 3 fades to the end zone at the end of the half, the inability to stop a run on your last possession. A 3-and-out with 3 timeouts gives us the ability to potentially get the ball back with a minute left and have a chance to go down and score. Defense can't do it. So, what do we take from this? I don't know. The schedule is not going to be easy. Falcons and Bills and Jets and 49ers again and the Cardinals and the Rams and the Vikings and the Bears. It's really hard to determine what this team's going to be because I think there's a lot of signs pointing to it's not going to be that great. But there also are signs that point to it being okay. So how do we react? I don't know. But we're not as good as we thought. The coaching staff's probably not as good as we believed them to be. I want to add this point. Mike McDonald's a first-year head coach. Ryan Grubb's a first-year offensive coordinator. So let's not sit here and pretend like there aren't growing pains. There aren't first-year situations where you have to adjust. There are. So it's possible, it's very possible that they have to adjust. And they're going to get better as time goes on. But right now, after a 3-0 start, thinking they're phenomenal is probably not true. And that's unfortunate because they're not phenomenal. They're not as good as we thought. The staff's not as good. The team on defense, the offense, it's not as good as we thought. Every year we drop down every week we drop down a little bit in PFF grading, on the coverage grades, on the run defense, on the offensive passing, pass blocking, on the receiver grades, on the overall grades. We went from 2nd to 1st to 3rd to 5th to whatever it's going to be after this week. There is some regression when we're not playing the Broncos, Patriots, and Dolphins. It sucks to say, it sucks to be the truth, but it's the reality. It's hard being a Seahawks fan right now because the way they started made us believe that maybe this is the year that we're going to just pop off. It was not, you know, it was a Pete Carroll problem, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't just a Pete Carroll problem. It's just, I think the personnel on this team might not be as good as we thought it was. And that's just the true reality. So we live on. You can go beat the Falcons next week, and we're going to feel a little different. And hopefully that happens. But if it doesn't, we just have to embrace the reality that we're not as good as we thought. That's fine. And time will tell. Geno will either get better or worse. The offensive line will either get better or worse. The defense will either get better or worse. And we'll find out what this team's made of or what they're not made of. So only time will tell. Hopefully we can go win next week and keep some positive vibes up. But as of right now, it's not that positive. And I think that's fair to say. I love y'all. I'll see you this weekend. Peace.